Hi everyone, SoulSilver17 here, like for like usual. I did not own this picture. I made the thumbnail. This is not a paid video. So, I tried to make my, what if, yesterday morning, had to go out, so I had to stop and delete it. Last night, I was gonna make it, again, but, I got too absorbed into Demon Souls. Not the PS5 version. The PS3 original. Yeah, I'm old. Well, actually, it took me a very long time to even get the PS3, so it was coming out when it was. I got it when I was basically near its cycle ending, when they were stopped making PS3 games. Well, and they're working on the PS4, because I remember a few years later, the PS4 came out. So yeah. Anyways, so I went to that. I'm thinking about bringing some weapons from Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Sekiro is just a normal katana, but not the Immortal Blades. I'm not bringing those in. I'm not basically. I'm not also bringing in. Basically, I would say boss weapons. Well, I mean most of them. But Code Vein weapons, maybe. Elden Ring, yeah. Bring some of those weapons in. What else? Lies of P weapons are just, well, they're just basically unique ones. Anyways, so I had to watch the ending real quick on my video just to make sure I was right. So I was. Anyways, let us basically begin this what if. Okay? So this is what if this is what if I was in danmachi, or it's wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon, part 2. Okay. So, as I left off is I arrived, I died 4 times, I killed the monsters that killed me, I came to Owaria, and, well, I punched Bete, I impressed Loki, basically gained some respect, somehow, and denied her, basically joined her familia. Then, I basically passed out due to basically internal bleeding. I realized Hestia saved me. I basically was turned into a Revenant, and basically I drank Hestia's blood, and after that, a little panic attack. Basically, Hestia told me to explain everything. So, that's where we're at. Now, basically, we would basically have the scene where I am patching up basically Hestia. Basically cleaning off the wound and such and being quiet. Hestia is thinking, well, this is awkward. I need to know basically what's going on and what he is, and why did he bite me? Plus, why was he so panicked? I don't want to pry, but I have to know. Well, if he is who I think he is, then it will make sense due to Hades' note. But I need to know more what they are. This Dark Souls, or whatever it was. So, she basically just, is quiet for a few minutes and then sighs and be like, I know I asked you to tell me, but, and you haven't told me, and I know this may be rude, but as a goddess, I need to know if anyone of the city is in danger. So, I'm sorry, but can you please tell me? As at least I stopped what I was doing, basically, was putting basically this white basically fabric on the the wound and, well, basically, was about to wrap it up, and I just sighed, like, alright, I'll tell you. Just, hold up. Okay, I thought my dad was gonna call me. Anyways, as I was saying, alright, fine. I'll tell you, and you deserve to know. As I say, I start basically wrapping the bandage around that white fabric that would put over the wound. So I'm saying, I may sound crazy when I say this, but I'm not from around here. And I mean it. I'm literally not from around here. I'm from a whole new dimension. You could say I was brought to this world. My term, I'll be isekai'd. Which she's quiet, and they say, because I pause and wait for her to say anything, but she's not, so I'm taking that as a continue. So I'm like, this, then. If you don't know what that means, as I said, I was brought to this world. By a unknown god or goddess. They were basically having their voice changed to sound like a female and a male. So I didn't know if it, where their basically voice or gender or whatever. Couldn't even see their face because of a mask and a robe. They brought me here. They basically, you could say, gave me a gift. If you can call it a gift, it's more like a curse. Which Hestia is like, how so? Which I just say, well, let me tell you. Fighting against enemies, getting stronger, then basically dying, coming back to life, and then go back and kill exactly the same enemies, or the ones that killed you, does have its basically, well, moments, don't you think? Which she's just blinking, goes like, wait, what do you mean by you come back from death? Like, as I just said, I die, come back, fight, come back, basically stronger than I was before, die, and keep going. I just don't die. Everything now, as basically I'm finished up, basically, basically wrapping basically the white gauze around her neck, so basically the wound is, basically can be closed and no blood will come out. Saying, as I finish up saying, I, just can't die because of these worlds. Well, the powers I was given. She's like, what type of powers would even be given to you like this? Like, what thing or basically deity would? Basically, I'm like, I don't know. Honest and truth, it's kind of really basically of suffering. I basically can die and come back over and over. And it's not even the worst part. Which she's basically like, giving that look, saying, explain. It's like, where I come from, basically, there's these things called video games. And there's basically a TV, which is basically a rectangle black screen that has technology in it. Which she's just like looking confused. I'm like, technology is a way more advanced, basically, form of, well, equipment that humanity have basically came up with. You see, where I come from, I don't live in a fantasy world. There's no gods, there's no elves, there's no demi-humans, there's basically no magic, there's no monsters, besides humanity. And basically, it's all just humans. No gods basically lead us or basically give us whatever. They don't exist. Which she's in shock, but he goes like, how can that be possible? I'm like, because where I come from, it's just that. Just basically realism. Nothing. No fun, nothing besides basically entertainment purposes. Video games, books. It's fantasy for me is basically from a book or video game. And the thing it is about basically, the powers I have are from said video games. A video game basically is a disc that has basically data on it that basically a console, which is another basically machine that basically humans have made, would read and basically put on the TV by it being connected to it. And basically we have controllers which basically give us the input basically to control basically the actions of the character because it's an RPG. She goes, huh? Role-playing game. Basically that means or an action RPG, whatever you want to call it. We basically play the character that we created, and then we basically level up the character by fighting for monsters. In a normal RPG, you get experience and basically fight the monsters, basically keep leveling up. But in this one, you basically fight the monsters, gain souls, and then basically you level up with the help of somebody, basically of different stats. Basically like your vitality, your endurance, your basically atonement, strength, dexterity, resistance, intelligence, and faith. It's just basically that what it is, and I have that basically series, which, by the way, yes, there's a series, which is another version, it's more games that have been put into categories, into a series. Shooters, basically, RPGs, and basically, for example, which the Dark Souls series, which I don't know the name or nothing of, by the way, has a Dark Souls-like series, which are more than one version of basically this video game because, in truth, the game is meant to be hard, difficult, and challenging. So, in a sense, that was the reason why basically you die is because it's game mechanics and it works like that. So yes, I have basically can die due to this. Because I have this game mechanic and probably the leveling system. Which she's just like blinking and then she's actually kind of shocked about this. Because like, wait. So that means you're constantly going to die and come back. You gain souls from slaying enemies or humans. And it's not the worst part. This deity, or god, or goddess, or you want to say whichever gender it is, decided to pick 8 or 7 or 9, basically, games that I've known about that are Dark Souls-like, or basically in the category of Dark Souls-like. So, she asks, wait, do you know? He goes, yeah, I know basically of them. They said it. All Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, basically, Sekiro Shadow dies twice. I'll explain about that later. And, well, basically, Code Vein, Lies of P, and Elden Ring. Now, Sekiro died twice. You can die, and then you come back immediately, basically, afterwards. But there's basically you can say, that's good, because then you continue to find the enemy that you're basically facing, but there's also bad because of the Dragon Rot. The Dragon Rot's due to basically Dragon Blood, which I don't have. I have all basically the game, I have basically the dying and coming back and basically the leveling probably system of each one of these games, but I probably don't have none of basically their drawbacks. Besides Code Vein. Which she's like, Code Vein? It's another basically Dark Souls-like game, but it could be called basically the easiest one, because I technically had the most easiest time playing that one. Where she was just blinking and she was like, okay. To me it's kind of like an anime version of basically Dark Souls. She was like, anime? Say a moving picture, like you're seeing like a moving picture or something. Or from a book, and then the characters can come to life. Or, I don't know, like you have magic, you make a holographic image and it shows the video playing. She's like, oh, it's like that. He was like, yeah, characters are moving, basically people are talking, well, just the characters are talking, done by voice actors. It's a whole thing. I'll explain later about my world. But, yeah. So, basically, give me a minute. Yeah, so basically, in Codename, you are known as a Revenant. It's basically someone that basically was turned, and basically they can't die. They'll basically constantly come back to, to life to fight. But there's also the downside of this. Basically, they'll go mad or crazy or, well, they'll lose themselves to the miasma. A miasma basically is made by this queen, who is basically the cause of everything. That well, let's just say they basically made vampires, which is like vampires. I'm like a predator in the night, one that feeds on the blood basically of the living. They basically are very powerful creatures in my world. Well, basically what I mean by that, since we don't have those in stories, basically we make of them. We basically made them basically a long time ago, I guess, for basically scary stories to go bump in the night, or just because we are interested and love the supernatural. It's hard to even know anymore. Don't even know when this even happened, but someone came up with an idea of Dracula and made it. The very first vampire. Which, she's just like, oh, so what's these vampires' abilities and such? It goes, it depends on which vampire you're talking about, or which story or creator of these stories of them. Some basically can become very powerful, others could be weak but gain strength and become powerful, others are just, well, crafty in their intelligence. Every vampire is different in every basically story. So, it varies, but the always thing they always have in common is they can't go in the sunlight. They basically have super strength, speed, senses, and, well, and amongst other things, different powers. But a Revenant can go in the daylight. It does have their strength and basically speed. Oh yeah, I almost forgot reflexes. And the reflexes, but all vampires must consume blood to gain strength or to stay alive. I don't know basically if I'm gonna have if I can eat regular food now, or am I gonna have to feed constantly on somebody when I get hungry. I'd rather not do that. As when I was saying, I was looking at my hand, as Hestia went on slowly to this, as she basically asked, so you were human before this? I'm like, yes, I was. Kind of ironic, basically, how, I mean, I kind of thought, hey, when I was younger, I thought, being a vampire would be cool. But then when I got older, I realized basically the downsides of it, and basically all that, basically constant, basically being hunted down and being almost killed by hunters if they were real, was not such a good thing. So, I was like, yeah, no. But there's a certain thing that basically you have to know about Revenants. A Revenant can get a gift, or you could say, the abilities of said person and skills of them, but it's like a core basically you can have. You basically will work on that core, gain its strength, or give it strength and such, and basically each ability that you basically work with and improve with, you basically then will be able to incorporate that into yourself after, while using that gift. You basically will get it to the max level and you can just use it on your own. So she basically, when I look over, she's thinking, and then she just says calmly about this. She goes, so if you do have this ability, and does it work by blood? I'm like, no, it's, well, in Code Vein, you just basically, how should I say this? You basically work on somebody's memories and such, and they basically will be happy to, well, give you a gift. That's how I basically always see it as. But, I don't know how they did it, so I guess with me, it's when I drink someone's blood, I can get the abilities, well, I basically can have the abilities of people if I want to use it. I can choose to or not. So, basically then Hestia was like, well, we don't know if you have that ability to even take, my powers, but if you do, you have the powers over flames. Maybe even food? Which I'm like, huh. Well, I guess Greek mythology does come in handy when you know a little bit about the gods. She goes, huh? I was like, oh, just my mind, well, just my world thing. There's Greek mythology where there's all the Olympians, and there's the Romans, and there's the Norse, the Japanese. There's a lot of basically different gods in my world. Well, legends of them, or basically known as them, and just people recorded them and such. We humans like to have something else, I guess you could say, higher than what we, than what we know. So, yeah. So let's see, basically, I have it. But she's like, huh? He was like, oh, I do know some things are gonna happen in the future, so, and I do know you need more people in your familia, so, which basically, she basically, blinks for a few minutes and then just like, wait, you want to join? And I'm like, yes. As compensation for me biting you and drinking your blood? I mean, I could technically be killed by you, but, please, not deaf. I don't want to die again. But she goes like, wait, again? I'm like, 4 times already. 4 times. Wait. By the way, where's my stuff? And then she basically, oh, they're over there. She just points over basically onto a chair and everything. I'm like, ooh. Oh, that's good. As I just stop and basically blink, I'm like, sorry about that, everyone. My dad came in, and then I was like, after he left, I was like, I should really eat something. So, I made something to eat. I know where I'm at. I just need to basically probably go back to it, because I think I was saying, basically, I know some things that are going to happen. So, but, basically, though, I was saying, after it said, really? Basically, I'm like, yes. And, well, I know some things about you, and, I know you basically won't betray me, so, I want to basically join for that reason. Which she just blinks and be like, wait, what do you mean by betray you? I'm like, well, I have trust issues. So, and then also a god or goddess send me to this world. Which she's like, oh, yeah, she realizes. She goes, anyways, you have to take off my shirt because it has to be on my back. She goes, uh-huh. So, when I do basically, well, because it would just be my shirt, I basically would take it off, basically before I would basically go laying down on my stomach on the, basically, bed. I'm like, by the way, Hestia. She's like, how did you heal me? She goes, oh, I had basically a friendly god basically nearby that would have helped me. He does say we owe him some money for basically the health potions, but to be fair, he was surprised you even lived this long. I'm like, good vitality? Which she would just nod. So, basically, I would go lay down on my stomach, and, well, she would do what she would do. She'll basically do the blessing, which I would, get basically myself part of Hestia familia. But, when she does this, all of a sudden, basically, there's, well, a whole bunch, basically, of information going through her head, which, hold up, okay, in which, basically, she grunts in pain, which I'm like, Hestia, are you alright? Which, before, I would even get up and try to basically see if she's alright and stuff, she would say she's fine, but inside her, basically, head, there was a message. She was, hello there, god or goddess, whoever, basically, well, took this young, basically, person into your familia. Here's the thing. There's a few things you have to understand. He's not, from this world, as I basically give you a brief explanation of it. Well, as then basically she gets all the information about, our world. My world. Our/mine. You know what I mean. And, then basically after that she goes, no. They basically go like, now then. Let me basically tell you basically about the powers he have. So all of a sudden she basically gets the details of Dark Souls and all Dark Souls-like games and the ones I have, and basically the system they see I have. Basically they have given me, and saying, basically they will say this. And due to all of this, he will basically be, getting stronger than most adventurers very quickly. So, I'm going to do something to the dungeon. Basically, as a, when, hear that, her eyes will widen, and basically goes, and so, what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm going to basically have the dungeon make the monsters become stronger. So we can help the other adventurers out to get, more and more powerful very quickly. Which, Hestia cannot believe that's, they're going to do this, whoever they are, which she has a feeling it's Hades, which, it is. I just need to take a drink real quick. Alright. So, basically, Hades goes on to explain, after we'll take off basically the hood, and saying, I'm doing this because, one, I'm bored, and two, no one's ever going to get down to me. I'm going to be down there for centuries. I've been there for who knows how long already. So, I want to see basically there's an adventurer that will be able to come down here and basically face me one-on-one. But I needed to have someone from not from this world. So, when I was bringing him here, he basically passed through the portal. I may have reconstructed his body to look, and his age to look younger than what he was. But his body is able to handle basically the power of the system. Since he wasn't from our world, I had to basically, make him where he would have been. So, in a sense, he can handle two systems. His own, which is going to be piggybacking on basically our own system. Our own system basically is going to be in the main front, while basically his is basically piggybacking. You could say it will increase basically what his array stats are. So basically, it'll be added onto it. Heck, it may actually be able to be added or times it, depending. Anyways, so here's basically his stats. What he has for basically the Dark Souls-like system that I gave him. Oh, by the way, two of his basically worlds require items. One requires basically, you can say like jackets or outfits that would give him the ability to, gain basically more basically econ, or basically blood. Basically that would increase increase basically him being able to use basically different abilities. But since we don't have those outfits here, they also would increase his stats and such. So, I gave him basically a few basically things due to it. Willpower and fortitude, which I thought was basically pretty reasonable. And I have had to combine some of the stats together since they seem so much more similar to me. Similar to each other to me. Also, the Sekiro system, as basically he basically shows the Sekiro system is just a skill base from my eyes. Skill based system, and that's how basically I would get certain techniques. he does not basically would need that, since our system will basically automatically give him skills that will suit him, or suit him because of his personality and everything else, and yada yada yada. You get it. But now here's everything basically he has as a stats that will be piggybacking off of ours. As when Hestia sees it, she sees it's a lot. Basically, vitality and vigor, atonement, endurance and capacity, strength and motivity, dexterity, technique, resistance, intelligence, faith, adaptability, luck, skill, blood tinge, arcane/advance, mind, willpower, fortitude, magic. Because this is a lot. But here's the thing. His system requires souls. Or, blood echoes, runes, haze, econ. It's a complicated thing. But just know this. You're basically going to be given basically the ability to, as a god, being granted by me the ability to basically be his, Fire Shrine Maiden, basically leveling up so his basically attributes, or as you call them, stats. Just know, they're going to be getting very expensive. He's going to have to kill a lot of monsters. Hopefully not people, but if he does, it's not his fault. I mean, all this dying that he's going to be going through, he may go mad and crazy. So I recommend surround him with people that, just surround him with people that basically will keep him sane longer. Besides, I don't want to basically have my, fun ruined. So, basically, as then all of a sudden Hades somehow, for her mind, basically sees him basically just about to poke her forehead, as then basically all of a sudden she basically gains a lot of knowledge of Bloodborne and all the worlds, all the games that I know of, and the lore and stuff, which she basically cannot believe it. Now, I gave you basically all the understanding how, dark this worlds are. Hopefully you understand basically how he's going to basically go crazy due to this power. It will basically drive him mad to keep on dying. But I made him basically a Revenant/Ashen One and basically Tarnish. He's not basically a puppet, and he doesn't have a prosthetic arm. Maybe in the future he'll get one. Who knows? Now, take care, whoever you are. Oh, and be warned, for right now, since basically he has 8 different systems combined into one, minus 1, so 7, because skill. His basic potential is truly unknown. There's probably no limits to this system. Probably all of them combined, he'll probably be over 100 in each stat, maybe even 200. So be fair and warn. The souls that he's going to require right away are only going to be 1. 1 soul for 1 upgrade. So depending on how many souls he has, he could basically be a good enough level. But that's what I thought would work, but meh. When he reaches level 20, it'll become like 100 or so. It'll only increase from there. So bye. As I see, Hestia basically shakes her head in real world. As I basically look at her, she goes, I'm fine. Just when I basically gave you my blessing, I gained a lot of information. Which I'm like, okay. About what? It was your system that you have. Not just the one I just given you. I'm like, wait, what? It was, yes, you have basically the, Dark Souls-like system of 7 different ones besides the Sekiro. Like, alright, skill base points. She does nod. She goes, so, right now, a soul that you have until level 20 will only be 1. Which I just blink and I'm like, that's really cheap. Holy cow. She goes, yes. Also, this is going to be piggybacking off of our system in this world. So, in a sense, basically your strength stat, as basically she's seen, is, well, it's E, it's 450. So, you're basically strength plus the strength in basically the Dark Souls system is, well, basically be 460. I'm like, so the more I increase it, the better basically I'll be. She goes, uh-huh. And basically she closed her eyes, basically and gained some more information that Hades did not, basically said. She will basically reveal. When you reach level 2 for hours, none of your stats will change. But there will be some abilities, or well, skills that you'll get that are going to basically work with our system from the Dark Souls-like system, which my eyes widen, which she can't see, but she knows, as I'm slowly nod to that. She goes, now then, here's basically what you have, as she tells me all my stats. So I would sigh, and I would ask right away if she can basically raise up my endurance to basically 15, my dexterity to 15, my luck to 15, and my adaptability to 20. Give me a minute, I need to do the math. Okay, so, after all that, I saw my numbers go down. I have 110, and I'm at level 26. In total. So, yeah. So, after basically she does, does the numbers and such, and brings it, and basically would bring down the line and such, she'll, basically do one paper, which would be my danmachi system, and then the other basically for me, for the Dark Souls leveling. So, what will appear for basically on the danmachi one, basically skill. Give me a minute. I want to write it down when I was making it, so give me a minute. Alright, so basically, like I said, we see basically a skill called Gift, and right next to it, there's Hestia Flames. Which I'm like, huh. Well, looks like I got your power, or at least only one part of it. Shows, yeah, my power to basically control fire, which ain't bad none, but still, we had to keep it hidden. I'm like, yeah, I know. Me, be like, wait, is it still nighttime? She goes, oh, yeah, you were basically knocked out for, well, actually, you're unconscious for a couple of hours. Why? Which I'm like, oh crap! So I basically immediately run to basically grab the socks and boots, put them on, and basically grab the jacket. Well, grab the jacket, basically put all my equipment on me. She goes, wait, why are you in a rush? I'm like, it's Bell. He's in the dungeon. Which basically, her eyes widen and she accidentally reveals it to me, like, oh no, then the monsters are going to get stronger. The monsters are getting stronger, so he could be in danger now. Which I stop while I was basically tying up where basically one of the daggers from my sweatpants. I'm like, wait, what? She basically says to herself, crap, I wasn't gonna tell him right away. And then she just sighs and be like, to herself in her head. Then she'll say, no, I can't lie to him. And I can't keep secrets from him. Even maybe it's for her own good, but still. So basically, she just sighs and says this. Alright. The person was the one that gave me the message. Also said that they're gonna basically do something to the dungeon that will increase the monster's strength. Which, my eyes widen. I'm like, wait, what? You gotta be kidding me, right? She nods no. I'm like, oh, come on, no, that's bad. Many people are gonna die if no one tells anyone. Which, she does nod. I was like, I know. I'm gonna tell the very first God that basically came down to Earth. And I'm like, me just thinking in my head, I think his name was Orion, right? Doesn't matter. He's an old man. I mean, I can't really remember his name for some reason. I only remember that he's old. Or he looks like an old man. Which I'm like, go to him right away and tell him. Have a meeting with the gods or something. Just let them know. The dungeon's gonna get way more dangerous. And I have to basically go rush and save Belle. Which, she's like, just, please, be careful. And, please don't die. Which, I look at her, I'm like, I have no choice but to basically not die this time. Which she goes, what do you mean? He goes like, I died when I was alone, I can easily go back. But since I'm with somebody, or someone needs my help, I'm not going to die. So before she can say anything else, I just start running up the stairs. Basically up the stairs, out of basically the church, and basically dashing all the way, dashing to the, basically, dungeon. Which she basically just like, I hope basically you do save him. And please be safe. And then she would look at my paper, basically, Soul Kurosaki. Weird name. But, and basically, basically in her mind, basically the information, is done. As then they said, oh yeah, P.S. His name, I changed. This will appear on his basic, as his basically status. Let him know, basically, after whatever. Which, yeah. So meanwhile, Belle is in the dungeon. Probably to floor 5. Basically, he's fighting against monsters and such. As, well, he's getting tired. He's saying, I should go back. As then all of a sudden he hears basically something stomping toward, not stomping, but something coming. Which he's like, huh? And then basically what he sees is a Minotaur, which he basically is like, what? No way, not again. But for some reason, there's something basically dripping from the Minotaur's left arm. Basically, when it hits, there's nothing. It just starts, it just basically like turns into what the monsters do, mist. Basically, I like to call it, or black mist. Basically, as he looks around, he sees Belle. He just basically, kind of glaring at basically Belle's like backing away a bit. As then the Minotaur hears, that's not him. Be patient, he's coming, and you can give him my gift, as you were created for. But play with the boy, don't kill him though. As the Minotaur just snorts with steam, with basically air coming out, which basically that was basically like a yes. So yeah, the Minotaur's gonna go easy on Belle. Meanwhile, me running basically to the dungeon as fast as I possibly can. So I'm like thinking, no, I have to go faster, come on! So basically I'm pushing my body, pushing my limits a bit. As what happens is when I'm running past basically a tavern that when the Loki familia was coming out. As Loki's like, hey, look at him go! There goes basically whoever his name is. Which basically Rivia would nod as basically Finn was saying, why is he in a rush and why is he going to the dungeon right away? And was he basically even taken in by someone? Which Loki says, who cares? Just, Basically, Loki looks at Eyes. He was like, Eyes, can you be a deer? Basically follow him. Which basically that kind of shocks them. With basically just, with Eyes basically raising up an eyebrow, which Loki says, I just don't want to basically have him die too quickly or too early before I can give him basically my gift. And besides, with the way he's running, he's basically running like he's trying to basically get to someone. So, I want to know who they are. So please, go follow him. Which basically Eyes just sigh and nod. So, Eyes would basically run after me and such. And since I'm in such basically focusing on only one task sort of thing, I don't notice, and I probably would not notice Eyes Wallenstein basically even following me. as basically this will be, she'll be following me, and after basically probably like 5 minutes, she'll be like, well, whatever basically, well, level he is, he's pretty fast. He's probably level 1, and he's probably not average, he just has average, but the way he's basically moving, it does seem like he basically Goddess Loki was right. Unfortunately. But whatever basically that boy that left the tavern after Bette basically was making fun of him. Was that him? Basically she would be thinking. So yeah, just me. So but all of a sudden though, when she basically wasn't paying attention, I just basically would be, in that moment I would say, move faster! As all of a sudden I just push myself basically to move faster than what I could actually do. Basically, Revenant speed, everyone. Revenant basically added on to, because in danmachi you're able to move faster, so the main system, and then Revenant. I turned into a Revenant, so of course I'm gonna have like increased strength and such. But naturally, that's why basically everything was kind of like it's all rank E because oh yeah, I forgot to say my danmachi system. My danmachi system for strength is 450. The endurance is 490. The dexterity is 460. The agility is 490, and the magic is 400. So, plus that with everything, it's basically for strength, 460 endurance, plus 15. So that's basically 500 and math in my head. Okay, so endurance is 510, dexterity is 475. Agility kind of go with the basic. Well, it'll just be probably exactly, with dexterity. Because of Dark Souls, they really know agility. Add on to it, so basically 510. And my magic 410. So yeah, so basically when she looks, she just sees me basically farther than what I was. She's like, wait, what the? Now, to be honest, in my opinion, basically, if added onto it and turned to a Revenant, and a Revenant basically have a I would have probably been like basically not E ranked in all these stats. I probably would have been like maybe I, or basically, or H, basically ranking them, but not basically I. I mean not E. But in physical wise, basically, I could push my body even further in basically what I can actually do with the stats. But it's not I'm not gonna do that long. It's just because of Revenant stuff. So yeah. Anyways, so basically she basically says she can't believe I'm moving this fast. I'm moving faster than before. So she's keeping up. Well, she's able to keep up. But by the time she's able to get to the dungeon, because I get there quicker, because I would see it, so that's why I pushed myself even more. Basically, I would see basically something glowing. Basically, like there's like basically a doorway that has a crack and it glows, which I'm like, wait, what the? Because I basically was about to go down, but then I caught my attention, so I basically go over to see if it's someone there. But then when I basically open it, the door, there's a bonfire, which basically the bonfire is different than what I would know. It looked like Dark Souls 1 for 2 and 3, but then there's basically something else. Basically, there's like a little light in it glowing, which I'm like, wait, a bonfire matches with grace? Which I would go over to it, and then all of a sudden, I would just basically see, in the flames, basically saying, safe checkpoint. And I'm like, huh? And then all of a sudden, basically, paper would just fly out of basically the fire as I catch it, and I'm like, and it's from basically says, hello, it's me, the unknown god or goddess. Here's the thing. I place certain basically bonfires / graces around basically the dungeon. Basically mainly in safe areas, but you can basically put down like a lamp from Bloodborne to basically, you could always teleport to, with basically also the statues or whatever. You have the ability to place Grace down, and or basically the lamps. But for basically a bonfire, you're gonna need a sword, and well, something else. Take a guess. Which I'm like, don't tell me, please. Because if you guess a dead corpse that basically lit on fire and turned basically into ash, then you are correct. Which I'm like, so, good luck to you on that one. Have fun. You're gonna need it. Oh, hope you don't mind. I basically turned you 15 years old again. And I changed your looks a bit. Thought it would suit you. Thought it would suit you better. Different look, different world. Even gave you a new name, which you'll find out later. Bye. As I said, the flames then suddenly, catch the people on fire, which I'm like, I really hate that god or goddess. So yeah, basically after that, I would just basically, come out of the door, basically close it, but then all of a sudden I hear it lock. Which I'm like, wait, what the? I go over to it, basically, I'll grab the handle, and then it unlocks, but then when I let go, it locks. Like, this is specifically for me? That's kind of freaking, okay, that's kind of freaking awesome, but also kind of like, wow. Then I shake my head like, no, Belle, focus. So basically I immediately run basically towards the stairs, basically grab the railing, volley over it, basically land on the stairs and just run down, which Eyes would basically saw me do that. She's like, wait, what? Never mind. So yeah, she basically just going down. Me, running down full, basically speed. Which, basically got me thinking, I got a bad feeling about this. Okay, where monsters come at me. Basically just grab the broken, sword that I basically wrapped up in the last, part, not what if. The last part with basically just fabric, and basically grab the dagger. I'm like, kill the monsters, no hesitation. They're just prey. Don't feel anything. So, basically, I would run and basically try to calm my nerves down. But, yeah, it's gonna be, it may be like my first time in the dungeon. I'm gonna be freaking, basically not wary, but nervous. So, in a sense, yeah. So, basically, as soon as I get down to the first floor and I run through, there's basically some, goblins and other monsters helping on the first floor. Which, the goblins I just take on with ease. Basically, they have no weapons, so I just run up, basically slice, and basically cut through, basically with my sword and dagger. And it's not really that bad. I do have basically to jump off the walls, basically kick one, and basically, jump over, stab a goblin in the head and such, and just keep moving. Which I basically be watching and be kind of shocked because it doesn't look like I even knew how to basically even have basically a proper style of fighting. I just swing and hope to hit something, which she's surprised I'm able even to do this. So I get further into the floor, and I basically would get to the second floor while not even collecting basically, of the magic crystals. So, I get to the second floor relatively same way. I am getting souls, but I will say after everything, let's just say this. For all the goblins, I'm basically getting around in the dungeon, around basically 50, to basically other monsters, maybe around 45, which I went through a lot just to even find, basically. So, it's going to probably, at the end of this, I may be in, the 2,000 range of souls. Maybe. That's what I'll be thinking. Because remember, I'm going from level 1 all the way down to basically level 5. Maybe, if I remember correctly, even maybe level 6. I basically have to figure that one out. I basically read the manga for this, reason, and now I basically forgot which floor level, which I'm not gonna go back and read, so I'm just gonna say it was level 5 or 6, because it had shadow monsters. So yeah, so in a sense, I'm basically going through them. Every time, keep on dodging. I get hit though a few times, basically for basically a wolf, which basically clawed me basically at the side, which I just grunt and basically basically kill it. Basically even taking some arrows, basically shooting at basically further ones away. Basically run towards basically the down arrows, grab them, put them back in the quiver, and just keep moving. Which she's very surprised I'm moving basically still with basically an injury. Hold up. Okay, sorry about that. My dad you guys already heard my name plenty of times, but my dad wanted me to know November 17th, our dog has an appointment for shots. He couldn't just come over and knock on my door and let me know, but no, the yell. But anyways, so, yeah, as I said, she's basically somewhat, shocked and impressed. I'm basically running, basically, and moving still with basically an injury like that. So, yeah. So basically, I would eventually get down to floor 5, as I hear someone basically, saying, it's, panting and yelling, someone because for help and such, which I'm like, crap, Bell! And basically I would look down at basically my, little basically soul meter, and as I said, around 2,000 souls? 2,000 and, 2,000, what's with 110, so 2,000 and, let's say, even though it's plus 110, is 2,300. Alright, give me a minute. And so, so I'm like, okay, this is going to come in very handy, because I know basically the souls are going to increase a lot. Hopefully they'll increase a lot, basically like they do in the Souls games. So yeah, so, in a sense, I keep basically moving forward, hearing the screaming, which Eyes is like, wait, it's him again. So, I would basically, she would try to, she would basically move a little bit not forward, a little more quicker than she was, basically being right behind me now. As when I basically, stopping it because I hear basically the most yelling, I see Belle in this area, running around, dodging the attacks, and basically looking tired, which I'm like, sighing relief because he's fine, but then all of a sudden, I see basically a Minotaur chasing him, and I'm like, oh crap. I noticed basically the arm has basically ooze coming off of it, which I'm like, that never happened before, which even Eyes is thinking. So basically I shake my head and basically automatically grab up the crossbow, basically, and put a bolt in and shoot basically the monster in the leg, which it screams out in pain and looks over and sees me and Eyes, but sees me as then they hear the voice saying, yes, that's him, the one with the crossbow. It's time for him to, to receive my gift. Which, basically, the bell just basically, would just make an angry bull noise. Then I'm like, hey, ugly, over here! Which Belle is seeing, heard me and basically looked over, he's thinking, wait, who is he in? Wait, why is Miss Eyes with him? Is he part of the Loki familia? Basically, saying if I'm part of the Loki familia, why is Miss Eyes here? So, basically, the bull would just roar and just run at me. Basically, me running towards it, basically, putting the crossbow basically back on basically my back. Near my back so I can grab it. And, me, basically, grabbing basically my sword and dagger. He basically sees me having like a makeshift basically grip on basically the rusty sword, which he's thinking that, wait, he has basically that ain't gonna do nothing. So basically the bull would basically throw a right punch, me dodging it, basically trying to basically slash with basically I slash basically with my sword. It basically doesn't cut through. It basically chips, and I'm like, crap! As I then basically, swing with my left arm, basically, the dagger, which then all of a sudden grabs with its arm that's oozing. And I'm like thinking, wait, what's it? As then all of a sudden, basically the arms, basically, well, start to feel like it. My arm starts to feel like it's in pain, not the arm, but my arm starts to feel like I'm in pain. I start screaming out in pain, basically, as, well, Bell and Eyes are basically shot as basically, it's still holding on to me as I'm basically, just like, what's happening to my arm? As the voice tells the, bull to let go as it does, and I fall, stumble back and fall down and hitting basically the, ground, holding my shoulder basically as I see my hand basically all black, which I'm like, what the? Does that mean I can't use this arm no more? So before anything else can be said, all of a sudden there's this weird basically rumble in the dungeon, which everyone's like confused, but Bull is not. It's basically just, looking at Eyes and that Bell and, well, decides to go after Eyes. Me, though. Basically seeing my arm, basically then seeing, basically, the area around my arm, basically like little, well, not little, but holes are starting to appear in the, dungeon. As all of a sudden, material's starting to float up. Which I'm like, wait, what the? As then they start to form and, well, form basically to each other, making like basically shapes, and then immediately attaching to basically my, well, left arm. Basically, the fabric though is gone on this. On my left, basically all the way up from my left hand, well, from my hand all the way up to my shoulder, the fabric's gone along with my shirt. Which I'm thinking, wait, what's going? As all of a sudden, basically, I see basically when it's taking shapes and forming. I basically, before I can think anything more, there's a burn sensation again, but this time feels like something's basically, well, binding to my, to my skin. As I realize the material, or whatever it is, it's basically infusing with my skin. What? As basically I see basically all the way up to my shoulder, it's metal. As I'm like, thinking, no way. Is this like the ores in here? The crystals or something? Just me basically can't believe this is actually happening. Materials from the dungeon, or basically minerals, are actually forming into actual basically metal, and basically being basically being basically on my arm, infusing itself with me. Well, with it, not me, but As basically I would see like even then like a little hook basically appearing off of one of the sides, and even basically I would see basically a grindstone, which I'm like, no way, this can't be right. Basically, in a sense, I would basically think to myself, this is basically a combination of Eliza P prosthetic arm along with Sekiro's, right? It has to be a joke, right? So, in a sense, then I basically hear basically an unknown god. Well, to me, unknown. God or goddess. It was like, you like the little gift I made for you? I had to make the Minotaur have like an ooze that basically crowed your basically arm and only you. Now basically that it's all, now liquid is gone, its arm is back to normal. This is basically some minerals in the dungeon that basically I, well, thought personally will suit you. The strongest around. The strongest metals in here. As basically your arm is unbreakable. Your arm now basically can be modified and changed. And through your magic, you can do a quick switch with it. So you can basically have basically different tools added onto it. Which, I'm just like thinking, how much do you want me to suffer? How much pain do you want me to go through till you're satisfied? Which basically the voice just chuckles and be like, oh, until it gets boring. Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna basically kill off that beast? Or are you basically gonna let basically the, well, sword princess do it? Which, basically, I just basically clench basically the metal, well, my basically left hand, as I can feel basically every nerve still in my arm now, for some reason, and even basically the coldness basically on the metal, which then the voice says, oh, before you basically get the wrong idea, I want you to still feel in this arm. So, your nerves, well, were shot until basically the metal starts to, well, rework on it. basically attaching to you, I basically had some metals that would basically give you a healing property to your arm. You should be thanking me. Now, have fun. As I just basically get mad because I also see the arm is pulsing red and basically the gaps in it, well, the little basically crevices, as Belle can't believe what's happening near Ken's eyes, as the Belle was just trying to hit her. She's about to take out the sword as I get it up, and I'm like, I hate that person. Because I'm not going to reveal basically, can't say god or goddess in front of them. As they're in shot, the bull looks and basically the bull hears, kill him. As it just charged at me, basically, Belle saying, hey, watch out! As Eyes basically, basically tries to strike it, but then all of a sudden, basically, the sword her sword tip doesn't really do as much damage. Basically, because this monster was enhanced to basically be above her level, to basically maybe around, like, his defense, basically, their endurance to be basically level 5, basically 6 or 5. Yeah, no, level 6, basically S rank. As she's in shock, she's like, I couldn't kill it, but it's just a Minotaur. As it basically just charging at me, basically does the ball sound when it's about to hit me. All of a sudden, my whole entire left arm catches on fire, and through basically my rage and through my rage, and me being very, very pissed with everything, I basically run, well, not run forward, I just basically put one foot basically forward, and then basically throw everything with my, into basically this one punch with my left fist, basically covered in basically red fire, and then all of a sudden it goes blue, and so when the Minotaur is about to, hit my fist, everyone just sees basically when it does make contact, it's just a full-on, basically, bull kind of like explodes and basically flames. As I'm just basically looking with basically my eyes glowing red. Which I see basically in the blue fire, and I'm like, I hate them. As basically, then basically, the eyes change back as I basically stumble forward a bit, I'm like, not again. As I basically, just like fall over. Which, basically, the bull, oof. Hold up. Okay, so the bull was basically like on like the 7th, no, like from like the 10th to maybe 11th floor. And basically the bull was made on the 5th floor. Well, 5th/6th floor, where Belle was on. The 5th floor. And so basically the souls are basically a little bit less. But what basically, so it's only around like maybe 300, so 2,700 I have of souls, in which basically they're just shocked by that, and what Eyes basically can't believe, that basically this crystal, or the bull basically still has the monster crystal, magic crystal there, and basically it's the regular size of one, but it's like she sees basically, it's not gonna be a drop, but it's gonna be a monster drop. Basically, she sees basically the bull horns. Well, no, not bullhorn. Well, a bullhorn and basically a bull hoof. Which she just can't believe. She goes, how is he able to do this? Just, who is this guy anyways? And how is he so strong? Which Belle just blinking, he just like, they took on a Minotaur. And won? Who is he? So, in a sense, so he would get up and start walking, which Eyes would basically walk over basically to the crystal, and the magic crystal, and drop, and basically when she picks them up, she will look at Belle, as Belle is not paying attention, fully, he's just looking at me. She basically says, hey, can you help me grab basically all the magic crystals? And he basically killed them on the way down here for you, just so he can come get you. Which, basically, Belle just nods. He's like, yeah, I'll carry him. So she basically would, probably have like some like emergency bag on her and just puts everything in there. But on the way, they do get the drops and such. There's like Belle just sees a lot of basically monster, crystals around, which he's just kind of shocked that that basically someone did this, and he asks who did this. He basically knows his eyes is there, but with this situation, he can't be flustered. So she goes, he did. I don't know how, but he basically fought all the way down here and got injured on the way. And with that whatever that new arm is, it it helped him out in the end. Which basically he just nods. So when they get up, basically Loki was there along with Hestia. She's basically looking, she sees Belle, looks bloody a bit. And then basically she's like kind of worried, but then when she sees me knocked out being carried by him and Ice has a bag, she's like, she runs over and goes like, Belle, what happened to him? Which she was like, Lady Hestia, I don't know who he is, but he passed out, and she basically sees my arm, and then basically she gasps and goes like, what happened to his arm? Which basically Eyes then says, a bull. Well, not bull, a Minotaur basically, I just keep saying bull, but a Minotaur basically had some type of liquid on his left arm, and as soon as he basically touched him, his hand basically was turned all black. And it basically even destroyed basically the fabric that was around his left arm, all the way up to his shoulder. I don't know what happened to him, but as soon as he touched the ground, especially his arm, all of a sudden, basically the dungeon started shaking a bit. It seemed like it was responding to when his arm touched it, and then that was forming. And that basically formed on his arm from basically it looked like dust material, which basically Hestia just like blinking, and she knows basically what is basically supposed to be a design of Life is P, basically prosthetic arm mixed with basically Sekiro's arm. So in a sense, basically Belle's like, Lady Hestia, why are you so worried about him? Which she goes, because he's part of our family, Belle. Which his eyes widen, including eyes a bit. Which basically Loki just kind of chuckles. He goes like, well, you got an interesting person, little lolly. Which she turns around Hestia, and he goes like, what do you mean, flat-chested? Which basically she doesn't see basically Loki getting mad. She just basically sees basically her staring at me. He goes, which basically Hestia's wondering if she basically knows anything or figures it out, which she then hears Loki says, keep him basically well and safe. I'm feeling basically he really is going to need a lot of it. He has that aura basically around him, which basically Hestia's eyes widen. So, yeah. So basically Eyes will give basically Hestia the bag and saying this is all the monsters he killed along the way. He basically can get this basically the money for the Valis for it after he wakes up if he's not part of the Venturer Guild. Which Loki basically would say, yep, they're gonna have a field trip about it. But hey, no one died. But then basically, she would be looking at the arm, and then she would kind of smirk and goes like, but he did get a fancy new arm. I wonder how basically strong it is. Which, yeah. So basically, she goes, come on, Eyes, let's get going. And maybe basically when we get back, we can give you a back massage. Which basically, Eyes was saying, I'd rather not have one. But she was like, oh, come on. So yeah, so basically Belle's like, Lady Hestia, are you sure basically he's part of our familia? Which she would nod. He was like, uh-huh. He just became a part of it not that long ago. Which she's like, but the way he was fighting, he came down all the way to save me on floor 5? Where she goes, wait, you were on floor 5? What was the reason? Wait, you were on floor 5? What was the reason? Basically, she would say, he just basically says he wanted to get stronger. A lot stronger than what he is now. And she can see basically the determination in his eyes, and she was like, alright, we gotta carry him back basically to our familia, well, to home, which he would nod. So, basically, we go to Loki and Eyes. She basically says, so, how was he? Basically, Eyes says, average. Never really used a sword, but basically it could be the skills that he got while he was in basically the Forest of Nightmares. Which basically Loki would not be like, uh-huh, anyone will improve very quickly on that. I'm just very surprised that he was able to do this. Which basically Eyes would not too. Goes like, and his eyes glowed red when he killed basically the Minotaur. Which she goes, oh? Really? What type of person do you have, Hestia? I would try to take him from you, but basically she remembers basically, well, what I said. It goes like, but I have a feeling he wouldn't basically belong to anyone at all. He only will join who he trusts, and he trusts you. What a shame. Hopefully, basically, she doesn't basically figure out about him or get any interest in him. Which basically Eyes will be kind of questioning. Meanwhile, with basically someone above is watching. Basically in the Babylon Tower at the highest floor, which is in a room where basically the silver basically hair, or white or silver hair or eyes or whatever, I don't care, but basically is watching. She just kind of just like looking basically at Belle, and she goes, Belle, I thought basically something, well, that was not in my control would have happened, basically helped you grow even stronger, but I guess basically fear held you back, and you were tired though. What a shame. Basically, as all of a sudden the door opens as someone says, Lady Freya, basically there's someone here for you. Which, basically she turns around basically and just nods. She says, I'll be there soon. As when basically she looks back down, she goes, but that boy who's with basically Belle. I do not know, but and what she sees is basically my soul, as she sees Belle, is basically pure, transparent and basically pure. My soul is pure black. And radiates basically, basically black aura around it, which she goes, I don't know why he has such a dark soul, but he's not basically that interesting to me at all. She basically turns away and basically she'll go visit who it is. Well, who came to see her. As basically we would go to that meeting, because it would take a while and it would take a while for me, all night for me to basically wake up. So, in a sense, basically in this meeting, she goes, wait, Orion, you actually left basically your, little home or throne. He would nod, be like, yes, it was very important. I received a message not that long ago. As basically, we have a flashback to Orion just sitting down and basically staring basically into the void, as then, all of a sudden, basically, a holographic image appears. Basically a magical image, which he basically raises up an eyebrow and then basically sees Hades. And Orion goes like, Hades. Wait, let me check it to see if I'm right. Okay, I don't know why I keep on saying Orion. Orinos? Or Anos. Maybe Orion. It's basically O-U-R, I think I-O-N. Give me a minute. Okay, it's O-U-R-A-N-O-S. Oronus? Yeah, I can never say the name right. Or, I just keep on saying Orion for some reason. My brain's being freaking complicated or being basically a jerk to me at the moment. Okay, anyways. So yeah, Oronus. Basically, basically, he would nod. And say, basically says, he asks, why did you make a message to me? Well, you've been talking to me through this way. He goes, oh, simple put. I was bored of waiting for anyone to come down to the final floor. So, I made my own little entertainment. Which basically this gets his attention. He's like, what? He goes, oh, simple put. I basically took a human from another dimension and brought him here into our world and such, and, well, gave him powers of basically something from his world. Which, well, here's a quick rundown of it. He just snaps his fingers as Uranus basically gets all the information that he needs to know. Which he goes like, this video game power you gave him. He goes, yep, he will suffer and die, but in the end, he'll become strong enough to kill me. Or, well, at least challenge me and face me. So, why not? Besides, simple put, I'm already enjoying my time watching him. Basically, trials I'll be making him, and some items, basically from monster drops, will be appear because I will personally make them myself for him. And, oh, the dungeon will be gaining levels quickly. Which he was like, wait, levels quickly? He was like, oh yes, the monsters here will be getting stronger. I've talked to the dungeon and, well, it agrees with me. It'll be simple put, just to, well, see what will happen. Would the adventurers get stronger? Or more monsters keep getting stronger? We need to find out. So, tell the gods. Tell everyone. That's basically, the dungeon will get stronger. So have basically people, well, have their adventurers, their children, become stronger. Which, basically the message closes as, basically that's what Uranus basically tells her. Which Frey's in shock. Which, basically, Uranus says, so, I want to basically assign this to you if you do not mind. Which she basically was like, what do you mean? About the dungeon? He nods no. He was like, the boy. As basically you know, well, you may have met, but he is the one with the dark soul. Which she's like, wait, what do you mean by... And then he just he releases some of his magic power, snaps his finger as she gains all the information of what basically it is, and basically Uranus basically even found out, basically, he even gave him basically the lore of basically each world. Which her eyes widen, goes like, Hades, that would kill anyone. Not physically, but mentally. Which, basically, she can't fathom basically what I'm gonna be going through. You know, if I'm even gonna be able to even still move forward, walk, be human. Which, basically he would not. He was like, yes. So that is why I want you basically, well, or at least some of your familia, to keep an eye on this boy. You probably already saw him with your eyes. The one where you can, well, because you can see their souls. Which she would nod and be like, what do you want me to do if he becomes out of hand? He goes, we cannot kill him. All we can do is probably put him into the dungeon and hope for the best. Basically, he just never meets any adventurers. Which she would nod slowly to that. She was fine. I'll have some people watch over him, and I'll, well, keep an eye on him from time to time. Alright? She'll ask and he'll nod. He goes, that's all I want. Now, I must inform basically everyone after basically Ganesha's party about this. She was, oh, right. I heard he joined Hestia's familia, though. Which, basically, Uranus did get up and basically stopped him and was like, hopefully, basically, they will help each other. That boy will need it. When he leaves and such, basically, Ordon, need to check his name real quick. He said, okay, it's Otar, not Ordon. Otar basically says, Lady Freya. She goes, she gets up and goes like, we need to call anyone who basically has a high enough, who's very good in stealth. This person that we're supposed to keep an eye on needs to be watched any moment at all times. Which he basically is blinking, he was like, could he be that dangerous? Which she basically goes, if everything that he has, he could be. Basically, she walks past him and he hears her say, in a whisper, besides, he could basically rival the gods, even kill us, if we even use our godly powers. Which his eyes widen. Which then he basically, looks back as a neutral face and he says, I will find them. Find basically people who are familiar that we can, well, use to basically watch him. even I will keep an eye on him if I see him in the dungeons. She goes, oh, you're actually going to go into the dungeons? He'll nod. He'll be like, yes. After all, I may have become basically the level I am, but I must become stronger now because of this boy. Protect you, Lady Freya. Which she basically would look at him but have a slight, smile on her face. He goes like, yes, thank you, Otar. And basically she will walk back to her room and such. And basically she can still see, basically I think far away, basically we're almost basically to a church, and she's looking basically at my soul and be like, how can just that dark soul attain all that power? And how can Hades even do this? I know basically we gods get born, we do messed up things to humans, but still, this, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him. But she looks at Belle and she kind of blushes a bit. She goes like, but as long as he basically doesn't harm my Belle, I'm fine. Besides, I'm am sorry about this, Hestia, but I will take Belle from you someday. So yeah, basically they would we'd get back to church. Basically, Hestia and Belle basically talk, and she tells him what's basically what's going on with me and such, which he can't believe it. As yeah, the next morning, basically Hestia would basically have been sitting in a chair, basically putting her head on the bed as I'm waking up, and I'm like, ugh, my head. And basically I would feel basically the metal from my arm, like, right, new arm. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Belle also grabbed my weapons and put them, where he thought they would be. So yeah, so they basically got my weapons off and everything. So basically I would hear a groan, be like, please don't die. Which I'm like, at least I'm, blinking a bit. Again, up, and I basically see Hestia basically, sitting on basically not sitting on, have her arms on basically the bed, and she's sitting on her, face, her basically cheek on her arms, So, basically, I would see Belle basically, kind of basically just getting his gear on. I'm like, going to the dungeons? By the way, they did have the discussion and Belle made that promise and such. They did basically do that, update and such. So he would just nod and be like, uh-huh. Lady Hestia was up all night basically watching over you. Which I just sigh like, yeah. I didn't think that this was going to happen to me when I was rushing in and saving you. Which he basically looks at me, he was like, I'm sorry about this. He bows. He was like, huh? About your arm and have to come save me. Which I wave him off like, don't be. This is my own fault, not yours. Besides, this will come in handy someday. He's like, well, I was gonna go to the dungeon, but as he takes off basically his, equipment, he's saying, but I can help you out. We just have to wake up Lady Hestia. Which I'm just nodding. So, in a sense, basically, Belle goes over to Lady Hestia. I'm like, Lady Hestia, soul's awake. Which I'm basically about to raise up. I just raised up my eyebrow a bit, and basically she's stirring up, basically, and then all of a sudden, Belle says it again. Basically, she immediately gets up and goes like, wait, really? As I'm like, yo. She goes like, she basically looks at me like, oh my god, I'm glad you're safe. And I'm like, yeah, sorry for worrying about you. Well, not worrying about you. Sorry making you worry about me. I'm already being a handful, huh? She just sighs like, yes, you are. But now then, we had to discuss something. As she gets into a serious face, and I'm like thinking, oh boy, I'm in trouble. I think. Anyways, hope you guys like this part. I'm going to be making part 3 tonight, or whenever I can. So you guys have a nice day, night, wherever you are. Also, I'm just decided to continue on. I didn't care about my dad's basically interruption. So yeah, bye everyone.